Hi, my name is Gaozong, and this is my youth story.
Hi, my name's Ada, and I'm currently a senior at Cal State East Bay.
Hi everyone, I'm Marc.
Hi, my name is Shivneel, and this is my youth story.
Hi, my name is John.
I am a biology major with a minor in chemistry, and with that I want to become an optometrist. I am Hoang American, and my parents divorced when I was a year old. And ever since I could remember, I would always have my elders telling me that I needed to obtain a good education, to get a good job so that my biological father would know who I was. And I always felt like it was my fault that, my father didn't come back for my mother and I never knew.
I'm a first-generation Chinese American. Both my parents are immigrants to the United States. My dad is from Hong Kong and my mom's from Canton, China. Over the past 25 years that my parents have been in the United States, they've adopted many American beliefs and practices. Yet they still retain many, if not most, of their Chinese traditions and superstitious beliefs. Growing up with my parents, they taught my brother and I a lot about different Chinese traditions and beliefs, because even though my brother and I were born in America and we are Chinese American, my parents did not want us to forget our roots. They wanted to teach my brother and I about our culture so that we can pass it down to our future children, because they don't want to see our cultural beliefs disappear. They want to, just keep passing it down.
I'm Filipino American and I am first generation American. Both of my parents were born and raised in the Philippines, so when I was a kid they got worried because they wanted to instill the Filipino culture and language and let me to know my Filipino roots. So what ended up happening was that, they decided to send me to study to the Philippines. But they also decided that I should be able to connect and keep in touch with my American culture as well. So what happened is that I studied back and forth between here in America and back in the Philippines.
I'm a student at Cal State East Bay. I'm a nursing major, and today I'll be talking about my unique ethnic identity. So I was born and raised in the Fiji Islands, and what's unique about me being born there was the fact that I was a minority, and being a minority we were constantly told that we did not belong to the Fiji Islands. We were not there first. That was not our native land. We should go back to India because that's where our ancestors came from, and these demeaning comments and these demeaning remarks kind of made me feel like I honestly did not belong there. But the fact is, a part of me really embraced that identity because I was born there, I was a citizen there, and I've honestly never been to India. So how can I say that I'm an Indian if I've never been to India? And I have very little ties with that country. And all my life I've basically been in Fiji. The only tie I have from India was that I practice Hinduism. That's a religion that hails from India.
I'm a Chinese who was born in Vietnam. At the age of 7, I moved to Thailand in search of a better life, because in Vietnam at that time, the economy was bad and the political government was bad. So in Thailand, we lived there for 3 years, waiting for some kind of interview from a country such as Canada or America or France or Australia, any country who will accept us as immigrants. After 3.5 years, we got accepted, and then from then we moved to Philippines to study the American culture, since the American representative accepted me and my father as immigrants.
Being Hmong, we are patrilineal, as in, a lot of your identity lies with your father and who he is, and that reflects on you. And so not having grown up with my biological father, there was definitely a sense of loss in identity. I would have Hmong, my friends' parents who were Hmong, they would ask me, you know, whose daughter are you? And I didn't know how to answer that because I couldn't have said, oh, well, you know, I'm my dad's daughter because my parents were divorced. And so I remember asking my mother, what do I say when someone asks me whose daughter I was? You know, who gets to claim me? And then my mom told me, you know, you tell them that you are your grandfather's daughter, which is my mother's dad.
For like growing up Chinese American, it was very, very difficult for me. As a kid, my parents were not as Americanized as they are now, and so this made me very different from the children I grew up with. You see, my family and I, we actually live in a place that's heavily dominated with Hispanic populations. So this really made me a minority, being not only Asian but Chinese. When it came to elementary school, in elementary school I was the only Chinese student in all my classes, and no one that I knew about all the different Chinese traditions and cultural practices that my family and I celebrated. And being a minority also, you know, it made me a target to be bullied on and picked on. So when I was being bullied as a kid, I heard every Asian joke you could possibly think of, from, you know, speaking whatever fake Chinese language, to my favorite, which is asking me if I was related to Jackie Chan, because you see, my name is Ada Chan, so I don't know, kids thought it was, you know, automatically like, oh, Ada Chan, she's related to Jackie Chan, which as a kid it always made me upset when my classmates asked me this question because they knew I wasn't.
When I was a kid, I hated the constant movement or like constant moving between the countries because, you know, I was a shy kid and it really took me a long time to make friends. So I really hated it. But now that I reflect upon my experience, I thought, you know, it was a good thing because I was able to meet, you know, lots of friends, some of which I still keep in contact today. And also, if I haven't, you know, studied back in the Philippines, I would have not learned about, you know, like the flip side of life. Like in the Philippines, there's a lot of poor people, but, you know, like, even though they're dirt poor, they are really optimistic. They always, like, you know, always have time to smile and just, you know, believe that as long as you work hard, you'll be able to, you know, accomplish your goals. And I feel like that kind of rubbed off onto me and my personality as well.
And in the school system, what we're told is we honestly were not Fijians, we were Indians. And we were constantly told by the native people that we didn't belong there. And at home, my parents told us that we were Fijians. So there was this huge cultural clash, and I did not really know how to make sense of it. And I did not really process this until I came to the United States.
So we lived in Philippines for about 1 year to learn the American culture and their language. Afterward, we moved to America around 1992 or 93. There I go to middle school and high school.
Fast forward 18 years and I'm about to graduate. I get a phone call from my biological father telling me that he would pay for my education. And I was surprised that of all 18 years of my life, he decides to step up and be a father. Well, and all I needed to do was apply to a school in North Carolina. Well, when I did that and I got accepted and I moved to North Carolina, I asked him how we were going to pay for it, and he told me I was going to take out a student loan, which is not the same thing as he had promised. So I came back to California. I went to the local community college, and when I was ready, I applied to CSU East Bay, and I was accepted. And I knew that moving to East Bay was the right thing for me because I would be able to challenge myself mentally, physically, and emotionally.
But as I got older, I didn't care as much that people would use the Jackie Chan question to tease me because, I mean, like, really? Jackie Chan. Who doesn't want to be related to a famous person? So what I did was I started telling people that asked me if I was related to Jackie Chan that yes, indeed, I was related to Jackie Chan. But really, I'm not. But as I got older, the bullying and teasing dwindled, and I became more accepting of my cultural background. So growing up with traditional Chinese parents that stuck to traditional Chinese beliefs, it really taught me to be respectful of other people. And then if my parents weren't so diligent in teaching me the importance of education, I would not be here where I am today as a graduating senior from Cal State East Bay.
So I went back here to America, finished high school, and now I'm in college. I currently go to Cal State East Bay, and I'm majoring in nursing and minoring in health science and Chinese. I got inspired to do nursing because of my sister. She's a dialysis nurse, and she inspired me through like her stories about her job. She would, come and tell me like about how she's able to, impact her patient's life. And I think I got inspired by that I said I really wanted to do that. So that's how I got interested in doing the profession. But I thought that, at the beginning I wasn't sure if I wanted to do pre-nursing or pre-law. But eventually, I got accepted to Cal State East Bay to do pre-nursing. I finished my prereqs in time. I applied for a nursing program. And, I was really worried back then because I wasn't really sure if I'll get in. And eventually, I got in.
And when I came to the United States, I got to experience diversity. When I experienced this diversity and I saw all these various cultural groups and how they embrace the cultural identity was very unique and kind of taught me that I don't really have to choose between being a Fijian or Indian. I can choose both. And that's why I consider myself an Indo-Fijian, because number one, I was born in Fiji and that's my homeland, and I practice most of the cultural values from there. But at the same time, my religion, my ancestors are from India, so I have to embrace that identity within me too and preserve it. And me practicing Hindi, the religion from India, is a huge part of me. So that's why I consider myself Indo-Fijian.
In high school, I did very well academically. I graduated at the top 10% of my graduating high school senior class. Afterward, I decided to go to San Jose State instead of UC or other CSU school because it was right close to by my house, only 5 minutes away. I did electrical engineering at that time. About 1 to 2 years in electrical engineering, I failed electrical engineering, so I decided to drop out. After dropping out, I worked as a car mechanic, warehouse, delivery driver, cashier. About 3 years, then I decided that I can do something better than what I'm doing since I dropped out of school. I decided to do molecular biology as my major when I go to CSU's East Bay last year. After 1 year, I graduated with a bachelor degree, which is a huge accomplishment since I'm the first in my family to receive a bachelor degree at a university.
Right now, as I'm going through school and, trying to pursue my biology degree to become an optometrist, I've realized and accepted that I don't need my father's acknowledgement of my accomplishments to know who I am, and realizing that I know what I've done and what I'm doing and what I want to do, and that's all that matters.
Today I'm a health science major with a concentration in preclinical studies, and I'm also a human development minor. My goal is to work in the healthcare field as either a nurse or a healthcare administrator or even a health educator. Growing up Chinese in an area where is not heavily dominated by Chinese population has its difficulties, but overcoming these difficulties and accepting and appreciating my cultural background has really shaped me into the person I am today.
Now I'm a year away from graduating, and I'm just really happy about my choice of like keeping and sticking to nursing. I'm minoring in health science because I thought it will complement my degree, and I'm minoring in Chinese because, you know, I thought it was interesting, and you know, I can use the language skills that I learned in Chinese class for my patients as well.
I decided to become a mentor because one, I want to tell students who are struggling in college not to give up and drop out like what I did, because it's a waste of time. And that life without college degree is really difficult, and you should not attempt it. Just stay in school and seek for help if you're in trouble, and you'll be okay.
And this is my youth story. Thank you.
My name is Ada Chan, and this is my youth story.
And that's my youth story. Thank you for watching.
So I want to leave you all with a quote. It's by Shishi, a Chinese author, and she states in one of her short stories, "I'm only human. I lack self-control and merely go where fate takes me, one ordained step after another. I have no logical explanation for my behavior, and I think that this might just be what humans are all about. Much of our behavior is inexplicable, even to ourselves." Thank you guys for listening. Bye.